All right, Hillary Clinton, she seems to have a bottomless war chest. That's not a euphemism, though it could be. But Donald Trump is journalist catnip. How will that play out in the general election? Let's ask my squeaky clean party panel. Tonight, it's Lisa Booth, Washington Examiner contributor and High Noon Strategies president. Tonight, we also have Michael Malice, author of Dear Reader, order it now. He's also an Observer columnist. Mike Baker is here, former CIA officer, Mr. Handsome of 1997, and president...
97?
Oh, yeah. That's a great year. Come on, man. And president of Diligence LLC. Don't worry, you're still in the running. Oh. Welcome, one and all.
Yeah, you and Bernie.
Yeah, that's right. So, Lisa, I will start with you. How different is the general election, and will Donald Trump need more money than he's needed so far?
It is different, but I think this election cycle has sort of been unprecedented because you look at Donald Trump as you were talking, you look at New Hampshire alone, Jeb Bush spent over $30 million between his super PACs and his campaign to place fourth, and Donald Trump spent $3 million to place first. So. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty significant difference there between $30 million to $3 million. So there's a little bit of a difference. But look, TV ads, money does matter. If you were talking about TV ads, they reach 87% of 18 and over individuals in this country. My biggest concern with the Donald Trump campaign, as you mentioned, he got $2 billion of free media. Yep. That's impressive. That's unprecedented. But in a 2 to 3% campaign, which the general election will likely be, digital and data and analytics matter because you need to turn out that small degree of voters that are going to make a difference in election, and he's basically said that's not important to him, so that's a problem.
Well, you're also going to need a ground game, and that has been his weakness, especially that's been demonstrated in places like Wisconsin.
But damn it, Kennedy, nobody told me that you were expecting real answers on this show. Do you have a real answer?
I do.
Oh.
No, yeah, because rich people don't get rich spending their own money.
Yeah. And you can't buy votes, but you can buy politicians. And the thing that we're forgetting is the Clinton Foundation is basically a giant slush fund for the Clinton families. There's a documentary coming out in a month or so called Clinton Cash, which traces exactly how she gets money one month, and then as Secretary of State, she returned the favor. Yeah. So this is going to be very, very bad for Hillary Clinton. And I'm going to disagree with Lisa on just one point. I think Trump's mastery of social media, just like Obama's in 2008, is going to be huge because there is an enthusiasm gap between the Hillary voters and the Trump voters. And just like Obama was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, we have to make this happen. For the Trump supporters, they see this as their last great hope to save America.
They do, but unfortunately, there's a big enough part of the electorate that is apathetic. You know, they know that...
in favor of Trump. If they're staying at home, Hillary needs those voters, the moderates.
Well, they both need to reach out to them. They both need to reach out to moderates and independents. And I guess her argument is, yeah, we've got the ground game. We can actually canvass neighborhoods and talk to people one-on-one. And if Trump isn't spending money that way, if he's not raising money, if he doesn't have the ability to raise money like she does, because she's got this war machine, does that put him at that kind of a disadvantage? What do you say about his strategy?
Yeah, I would not underestimate. I mean, I know we all think there's some new paradigm, and frankly, everybody who talks about politics should probably just look at the cameras right now and go, yeah, I don't know, because it's all so different. But I think a couple of things probably don't change. One is this ground game, the need for analytics, the ability to reach out and grab every voter. And, you know, Trump and his folks may want to talk about how, well, we're going to get started on that. But Hillary Clinton's been doing this now for 8 years, ever since she essentially cut a deal with President Obama in 2008 to back off, get that Secretary of State position, and then this will be her run. That's another thing. I can't understand why everybody's so surprised. Oh, she broke the glass ceiling. Well, we've all been anticipating this was going to happen for 8 years, and poor Bernie Sanders and all his supporters. But I don't think that Trump's going to be able to manage this. I don't see how you can go against the concept of fundraising. You got to spend. This earned media is not going to last because at some point the media is going to turn on him and say, "You're right. We got to back off of this."
They're going to turn on him after calling him Hitler and the Antichrist. Then
but what I mean in terms of
and the Huffington Post putting him on the entertainment page. I don't think they're going to stop covering him. I think those who are implicitly opposed to Trump feel like giving him this much airtime is giving him enough rope to hang himself. So far, that hasn't worked.
It hasn't happened.
But I do think the general election will be different, and he will need to have a little bit different strategy. Well, today, just a couple of hours after meeting Bernie Sanders at the White House, President Obama officially endorsed Hillary Clinton. Oh.
I don't think there's ever been someone so qualified to hold this office. She's got the courage, the compassion, and the heart to get the job done. And I say that as somebody who had to debate her more than 20 times.
All right, Hillary Clinton responded with a tweet. Honored to have you with me at POTUS. I'm fired up and ready to go. H. Oh, so what do you make of this endorsement?
I mean, I think this is a humiliating slap in the face of Bernie Sanders, actually, because Bernie went to visit him in the White House, and as soon as he's 1 foot out the door, Obama was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm endorsing Hillary, because Sanders said he's going to fight to the convention. This was a no-brainer. There was a tit for tat. She was going to serve as Secretary of State. He's going to endorse her.
Yeah.
This is not going to influence anyone one way or another. And if they're going to keep this earnest establishment voice, that's really going to be a problem for her, because she is such a product of the Democratic machine.
Of course she is. I mean, if there's anyone who embodies the establishment, it's her.
Yeah. First of all, I got to take exception with the president, with all due respect. You know, nobody's been as well qualified. In recent memory, let's just look at H.W. Bush in terms of Congress, vice president, ambassador to China, director of the CIA. You give me a break.
Eisenhower?
Eisenhower, yeah. So, I don't know. I agree exactly with what you're saying. This is not going to impact, the election. Everybody knew this was happening.
Yeah.
This was coming down the road. I agree. If I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, I keep coming back to the same thing. If I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, I am really irritated right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm going to suddenly turn around and put my vote over to Trump, but I know it's not going to Hillary.
Yeah, and it has to be a slap in the face for them, because they've got to be thrilled today, because he came out of that meeting and he said, no, I'm going to be here in D.C. next week. Panders to D.C. a little bit. He's like, you guys deserve statehood. There's more people here than in Vermont.
Yes, we're pandering.
Yeah, and he's like, we're still going to the convention, and Bernie Sanders people are like, yes. And then the president turns around, and I don't think it does anything to unify the splinter party.
I don't think it does either. I love, too, how they have photos of her laughing as if she's somehow a normal human and, like, has any sort of fun whatsoever, but which we know is not true. But look, politicians are self-interested, right? This is not about Hillary Clinton. President Obama and Hillary Clinton don't get along. There's been reports that she has told him verbally to call off his dogs in relation to the FBI investigation. They are not friends. There's been a long reported history of not getting along. This is about President Obama. This is about his legacy. This is about things like Obamacare. This is about the policies that he's put in place, climate change. This has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton or even the Democratic Party. This is solely about President Obama and
preserving his legacy.
Exactly.
And I think he's going to do whatever he can to keep her from getting indicted, because that will put his legacy in jeopardy if her presidency is.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about that with the judge a little later on. And we've got more with the party panel. They're returning because a Huffington Post writer suggests violence at Trump rallies is just fine. You're going to be astonished. Hi there, good to have you. Earlier this week, Jesse Benn, who's a writer for the Huffington Post, said that countering Trump with violence is justified. He wrote, quote, violent resistance matters. Riots can lead to major change. It's not liberal politicians or masses that historians identify as the spark underlying the modern movement for LGBTQ equality. It was the people who took to the streets during the Stonewall Uprising. So, civil discourse if it's liberal discourse, and violence for the rest. All right, the party panel is back. Lisa Booth, Michael Malice, and Mike Baker. Malice, I'm going to start with you. What is the underlying theme that is actually going on here that he's not outright stating?
Well, the underlying theme is that progressivism will have their way by hook or by crook. And I think for years, the Republicans, the Me Too party, have been playing on the progressivism's rule book. And now for the first time, Trump is repudiating them, giving them the finger. And now they're falling back to plan B, which is we're going to suppress those voices by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And that's just all that government is. And that's why they're the government party. They just want more and more. You will do as I say or else. It's imperialism, but localized.
Yeah, it's the or else. I mean, it's authoritarianism.
Yes.
And that's what it is. And if you disagree with someone passionately enough, then hey, it's fine to go cracking skulls.
Yeah.
Is this ever justified?
No, it's not. But from a progressive point of view, yeah, violence is fine as long as it's perpetrated by liberals or people that the progressives are either condescending to or pandering to or whatever it may be. As long as it agrees or they agree with the progressive point of view, violence is okay. It's always been that way. This is not something new, I don't think, but. No, it's never justified.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why. It's interesting. Every time you see latest reports, and I don't have a dog in the hunt, frankly, on this whole campaign, but anytime you see reports about violence at a Trump protest, it's always, they're referring as anti-Trump supporters, anti-Trump supporters. They're never saying, some of Hillary Clinton's supporters were out there, or some of Bernie Sanders supporters were out there.
Yeah. So. All right. So, Lisa Booth, does it work? as he claims, because he says there's an inherent value in forestalling Trump's normalization. Violent resistance accomplishes this. Is that true?
I think if anything, it mobilizes people for Donald Trump, because if you're sitting at home, if you're a voter sitting at home and you see these morons burning a flag, that's actually going to make you, in my opinion, more inclined to vote for Donald Trump, because you're going to say, look, I love America. Clearly, these people are anti-American.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of these protesters, a lot of them are spearheaded by left-wing organizations. I mean, you look at even for the Fight for 15, for instance, and the most recent protest at the McDonald's headquarters, that's spearheaded by SEIU, right?
Exactly right.
They spent $18.6 million last year on it. It's essentially just a union drive.
The ultimate goal is to unionize, which is, again, that speaks to Michael's point,
yes.
which is gaining control over people.
Exactly.
In the progressives' defense, this country was founded on violent revolution, so they're being more Americans than the Trump supporters in one way.
Well, they're also calling all Trump supporters fascists, at least this writer is, and white supremacists. Now, if that were the case, if you had fascist white supremacists who made up the bulk of Trump supporters, wouldn't they be going to Sanders rallies being more violent against the progressives?
Well, look, yes, we can is the fascist expression of the will to power, just with a smile on its face. So fascism had a long history in America ever since FDR looked to Mussolini as his role model for how to have a third way between communism and capitalism in the 30s.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And the third way was the worst way. And we're still dealing with those programs.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks a lot, FDR. All right, the party panel returns a little bit later. We're going to play Fact or Fiction, Hillary Pandering edition. Can you sort the baby-kissing photo ops from stuff we just made up? You know what that music means. It's time to have some fun with politics. In a recent radio interview, Hillary Clinton claimed she carries a bottle of hot sauce with her everywhere. She told that to Charlemagne the God, leading some to speculate she was pandering to the black community, which she was. Well, let's get ready to speculate further, because today we're playing Fact or Fiction, Hillary Pandering edition. My stunning contestants are the party panelists, and they will determine if each statement is actual, shameless pandering from Madam Secretary or something we've made up here. Again, let's welcome Lisa Booth, Michael Malice, and Mike Baker.
Big money, big money.
Yeah, no whammies. You guys ready to play?
Do it.
Okay, let's go. Here is question number one, Fact or Fiction, Hillary Pandering edition. Hillary Clinton released a Kwanzaa-themed logo on Twitter to connect with black voters. Fact or fiction?
Oh, I'm going fact.
Everyone's got one on the board. That is, in fact,
What do you
fact. Well, you just have to wait and see, because it's very exciting.
Adoration.
And Mike Baker's gun.
Yeah.
My parents will love me.
They will. And they'll love his gun even more.
Hey, the weapon that you get, though, I've scrubbed the serial number off.
Nice!
Oh, good. You can do that because you're former CIA.
Former.
Yeah. Is there such thing as an off-duty doctor? I didn't think so. All right, question number two. Earlier this year, Hillary Clinton left a photo op at an animal shelter when a Labrador retriever she tried to pet wet itself and would not stop barking. Fact or fiction? Michael Malice, you are too good at this game. That is fiction. The dog didn't wet itself, but she did leave to go to Chipotle. And she ate it like she was eating out of a dog bowl.
I was thinking the puppies would be scared of her.
They would, they will, and they are. Okay. Here's question number three. You guys ready to continue? Fact or fiction? Hillary Clinton, how much does she pander? On the campaign trail, Hillary Clinton has referred to at least 5 home states, including Illinois, her birthplace, Arkansas, where she was First Lady, New York, her Senate seat, Pennsylvania, where her father was born, and Massachusetts, where she went to college. Fact or fiction? And the answer is fiction. Michael Malice got that one right.
Per usual.
Yep. I know. It seems so believable. So many home states, so little time.
Apparently, Michael's got a better regard for Hillary Clinton than I imagined.
She's America's mother-in-law.
And her accent changes in each of
Oh, it totally does. In all of her home states. All right. Question number 4. Pandering to the alien conspiracy theory crowd, Hillary Clinton promised, if elected, to get into the government UFO files and, quote, make as much of that public as possible. Fact or fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fact. You all got that one right. Malice is still on a tear. He's up by 2.
We're making ground, though.
We've got 3 questions left. You can still, it's still anyone's game.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially Hillary. Okay, here we go. To reach Spanish voters, Hillary Clinton's website released an article entitled 7 Ways Hillary Clinton is Like Your Abuela. Is that fact or fiction?
I thought that was BuzzFeed.
Oh, it might have been, but you know what? Everyone got it right. That means, Malice, you have 5. Mike and Lisa, you have 3 apiece. 2 questions left.
Coming in
the
hot.
best we can hope for is a 3-way tie. If Malice gets 2 more right, then he's really good.
Just so you guys know, my theory in this, and I'm giving up a little bit of the game contest rule, my theory in this is that there is nothing beyond her ability to pander. So I'm basically going fact
What
on
about
everything.
wars of choice?
Do we all get an attendance award?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
America.
Sure. Yeah, here, let me go ahead and give you an extra point just for being here, honey.
body booth.
Okay, here we go. Question number 6. Huma Abedin has admonished staffers for letting crying-type babies into events who may not appear to like Hillary Clinton if she holds them. Is that fact or fiction? Yeah, Baker, you are now within 1 of Michael Malice. You've got 4, he's got 5, we've got 1 left.
Too with the puppy.
Let's see if
like on a Serengeti, and on here.
at least it's mathematically impossible for you to win the game. Oh wait,
Sorry.
I'm John Kasich.
you won't be able
Bernie
to win the game at
Sanders.
this point, but you could still enjoy
burn.
yourself and maybe
Down
get
the
this one
burn.
right. When the New York
Take it to the
Times asked
convention.
Hillary Clinton the most influential book in her life, she said the Bible. Fact or fiction? Oh my garden, guess what we have?
A tie.
A tie! Mike Baker got that right.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, she seems like a godless woman.
No, she was a very strict religious person growing up.
That's
and
what I
then
meant.
in college. Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant.
She lost her way.
Yeah, but that's a very George Bush answer. But she did, in fact, say the most influential book was the Bible.
Right.
And that means that, Baker, you and Michael Malice are going to play for the tiebreaker.
Sweet.
You guys ready?
All right, yep.
Whoever gets closest wins the game and Mike Baker's gun with the serial number scratched off.
That's not a euphemism for anything, by the way. That's literally Mike
No,
Baker's
it's
gun.
literally
Yeah.
the prize. And thank you for providing that today.
That's okay. It's all right.
All right, and I didn't get it from you on Facebook. All right, here's the tiebreaker question. What is the last year Hillary Clinton drove a car? Michael Malice.
It was 1989.
Okay, Baker? Mike Baker.
Yes, I know. I'm going. 1988.
Oh, you're closest, Michael Malice. It was actually 1996 was the last time.
USA!
All right, see me out back in the alley. You'll get your prize.
All right, congratulations.
Good
So you win the gun. And,
Finally.
And now you are an amateur CIA agent. That's something you've always
You
wanted.
do. That's true. You get a badge too. That's true. Yeah.
With the serial number scratched off as well.
Hooray.
All right, well, thanks everyone for playing.
That was great.
It has
Thank
been
you.
a lark. I've loved every second of it, and I marvel at your intellectual fortitude.
Little disappointed. But
I know. It's okay. You can come back next time.
All right, all
Tom Shalhoub still holds the record for the most losses. In fact, yeah.
I hope to beat that.
Yeah.